Hi Sadhana, I know you have migrated from non-English speaking country Nepal and now you are in Australia. But why did you choose Australia for study purpose and why did you choose to study Master in TESOL in Australia?
Hi, Shristi. Thank you for the question. So, to be honest, initially I did not have any plan to study Masters of TESOL in Australia. I had planned to come to Australia like many of us, but as I was consulting initially with the consultancy, I had no idea what I was just enrolled in accounting course. I came to Australia in accounting course, and while doing accounting, I felt that it was not my cup of tea. I was struggling very much with accounting as my background was journalism, and I was looking for some other options. I was studying in KY and they had this TESOL program in KY. So I just saw the poster and then I went and talked with the academic manager there, and I understood it is a teaching course. That's why I got enrolled, but I initially had no plan and I was very unaware of the course.
For those audience who do not know about the TESOL course, can you please explain what TESOL course is?
Yes, so TESOL is a degree in teaching English to the speakers of other languages. The people who not meet the English language requirement or who cannot speak or read English properly, this is the program for them. If you get TESOL degree, this qualifies you to teach those students.
Can you share your process and the requirements for TESOL degree when you enrolled?
Yeah, so while enrolling, the process and requirements similar to other courses. First thing, you need to find the college or the university that provides this course. For the entry requirement, you need to have IELTS. Initially, they used to accept only IELTS, but now they also accept PTE. But you need to have at least 7 in each band to get enrolled. The other process are like the same. You apply and then you get your offer letter, your COE. They look for the IELTS score that should be 7. It's like other degrees.
What are the scope of TESOL degree nationally as well as internationally?
So when you finish masters or some certificate levels in TESOL, you will be qualified to teach English to the speaker of other languages. You will be a teacher of ELICOS. ELICOS is English language intensive course for other language speakers. So you will be qualified to teach. You can teach physically inside the country face to face or internationally. You can teach via some app or online platforms. They are looking for the English language teacher, so you can join them and you can teach to the international students who are overseas. Also, there are some organizations in different countries like China, Vietnam, and some Arabic country. There are some organizations that they are looking to hire English language teacher. So they will sponsor the teacher and then you will just go to their country. They will provide you the accommodation and everything. It will be for a short time period, like 3 months or 6 months, but you can explore different countries as a teacher. If you dig in, there are so many scopes in teaching English language.
What is your current occupation right now and how much challenges did you face to get that job?
I work as an English as a second language teacher in one of the colleges in Canberra. And I also work as a relief teacher of English language, and AMEP is the government funded adult migration English language course for the migrants. So I also do that for different organizations. My main occupation is English language teacher. I like to call myself English as a second language teacher. After completing degree, fresh graduate, there were so many challenges. The main challenge was my accent. I come from Nepal, and English is a second language for us. For some of us, not even second language, it's a third language. When I used to go for interview, they tell me that my accent, Asian students to learn English from native speakers rather than a teacher who has an accent.
And how did you overcome that challenge?
So I I just kept looking for jobs, going for the interviews, and I got a chance in 2019 in colleges in Sydney. So I started teaching as I started gaining experiences and as knowing my techniques, my way of teaching, then accent was not a barrier anymore.
I have heard about this accent between the Asian and the European culture. Do still people say your English has an Asian accent? And does it really matter? The European accent language is only for the understanding, right? Why it's a big problem? I have heard this problem from many people.
Yes, if there is one person who is native speaker from Australia, from European country who has the native English accent, and if I am there, even if I have masters of TESOL and that person has only some certificate, there are chances that that person would get the job and I would not get because of my accent. Accent is a big deal because as we have understood, English is just a medium to convey my message to you. It's not a big thing, but in some organizations, they think that you need to have English accent so that the students will be engaged, students will be willing to learn from you. But now in most of the organizations, they have started including people, all nations, all accents. So now it's changing, I think.
I work in a environment where there are all the Australian people, and I still don't understand that accent. I don't know what they are speaking, but I somehow try to recognize what they are speaking, and I just feel their language. I communicate, and they say me that you have a proper English language, but why don't you understand our language? Why the Australian English is different from the other English?
Okay, so first thing, we were born and raised in a different culture where English was not a first language. We did not hear English every day in our house growing up. Even we know all the grammars, we know everything. We can form sentence. If you talk in your native language with them, they will not understand a letter. So yeah, it's because they were born and raised in the environment with this household where they only speak. We were born in different country with a different environment, different culture.
What sort of English is widely used, British English or American English?
In terms of teaching in Australia, I mix them. Before there used to be British English and American. In Australia, I think people still use the British English. And when I teach, I sometimes mix because we have been hearing different English. So when we watch movie, we watch some American movie and we watch some British movie. So we just kind of mix the English. I don't care whether it's American or British. I just think my students should be able to express themselves in English and they should be able to communicate in English. It doesn't matter whether they are learning the British one or the English one.
I have heard that there are lots of online platform where a person can teach English language nationally as well as internationally, and they don't need any qualification. But why do you think that studying master of TL is worth it, and why qualification is needed?
Yes, there are platforms where you can just go and teach English if you are good enough, but there is a difference. So if you have a qualification, for example, if you have some certificates or some master's degree in the relevant field, they teach you the tips, techniques. You also get the practical knowledge while studying. But when you just think my English is good and you'll just go and start teaching, then you never know. There can be some students who is a beginner level student, so who does not even understand or speak a single word of English. So in that case, qualification you have and the techniques you have learned in your classroom will be helpful. I think it is very important if you have some qualifications or if you have degree, it will be very helpful you to tackle situations online teaching. You don't know the level or the requirements of the students. You are meeting the students for the first time online. It's not you have known that person for a long time. If you degree, you will be able to do the need analysis. You will be able to do everything as you were taught in the classes. But any techniques, tricks to handle students, it can be a little bit difficult.
Now, I want to ask you a question. Suppose a person is born in Korea and has never heard English language and he wants to learn English language. What will be your technique to make understand the English language in a basic way?
So, as a teacher, we will use gesture. We will use some visual aids. You will have pictures, and you just teach them like the small kids. You in kindergarten or preschool. Make them understand every words, every letter. Start with the alphabets. Like you will basically start with A, B, C, D, and then you will forming words. It's like teaching kids. If you want to teach someone the beginner level, there are as many tricks and techniques that we can use in the classroom. If I was in a situation, I would use pictures, gesture, and translating apps like Google Translator. So I will use that. And then what I do in the classroom, I use the Google Translator, but I don't let the student ask the question, and then I will translate for them, and then I encourage them to give me the answer in English. That's how we do it in the classroom.
But you don't know the Korean language, right? And the student might be frustrated because the small things, but you are not understanding and how the relationship is maintained.
Yes, so this is the challenge of this job. So we basically, when we get the students, we get them with the basic understanding of English. But if in some cases we also get, so if I have to give example, when I was working a few months ago, there were some students who did not even know how to write A, B, C, D, the letter. We have to go with so if we know their language, we would speak their language. But in the English classes, ELICOS, according to the standard from the government, it is recommended that we cannot use their students' native language. So we have to be very patient with this thing, because sometimes it is frustrating for the student as well as for the teacher. And then we just try.
Sanna, in this case, you are teaching a Korean student and you yourself don't know the Korean language. And how do you maintain the relationship between the teacher and the student? Because it's challenging for both of you, right?
Yes, right. So, yeah, in this case, the most important thing we need is patience for both students and for the teacher. And also, one of the technique that helps is empathizing with the student. So, I will tell the student it's okay that you're not understanding, but we will keep on trying. So, in the beginner case or in the starter case, using the translator is the best way. We try to use the translator, and we try to make the student understand that they need to do this anyhow. So there is no way, if they don't learn or if they don't speak or understand the English, it will be very difficult for them to survive in this country, because as we know, so if they are coming in Australia or some English speaking countries in the world, they will need English language, the basic English language. We make them understand that you have to do it anyway, and I am ready to provide the full support. So I just try to empathize with them. And yeah, so we keep lots of patience in this case. They are like child for us.
Sanna, what suggestion you want to give to those people who want to study master in?
Okay, so my suggestion for those who want to study master is you should have a passion for teaching. And the second thing is that you should be very patient. It is like a patience test for you. When you start studying, it will be very much fun in the classroom. But when you go out and when you start working, it can be challenging. So you should be ready for that. And then you may meet people with different language level. So you should be ready for that as well. You may meet some students that complete beginner and some students that very high, like advanced level of English, but still doing the ALICOS course for his or her visa requirements. So you should be ready to meet all different level of English languages. So the two important things are patience and passion for teaching.
Is TESOL qualified students highly demanded in Australia, and is there a permanent residency through this course?
So talking about this thing, The occupation is not in the highly occupation list, but it is one of the occupation that can lead you to permanent residency. Only few states have this occupation in their occupation list as a permanent residency.